And we're joined now by RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel from Washington. Ronna, welcome to ABC News Live. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, of course, President Trump will likely be acquitted by the Senate this Wednesday, but Democrats have argued that more information will just keep coming out that makes their case stronger. Even GOP Senator Lamar Alexander said that the president's actions were inappropriate even as he voted against calling for witnesses. So in your estimation, will the impeachment case continue to hang over the president and potentially cause even more fallout going forward?
Well, I'm not surprised that the Democrats won't accept the results of the acquittal on Wednesday. They didn't accept the election of Donald Trump to begin with. I'm sure we'll see a drip, drip, drip continue until November. So the fundamental facts of what actually happened show that the president did nothing wrong, and that's why he's going to be acquitted by the Senate on Wednesday.
Of course, many Republicans blame the House process for being partisan and rushed. But there were also overwhelming majorities of Americans, including a majority of Republicans, who supported having witnesses in the Senate trial. Are you concerned that there might be some blowback for Republicans in 2020 from voters who think that possibly this trial was a sham?
I'm not. I think most of the American people recognize that there were 17 witnesses in the House trial, that they, during their evidence gathering process, they chose not to subpoena John Bolton. And I think that people recognize the role of the Senate versus the House. The House gathers the evidence, they present it to the Senate, and then the Senate decides on innocence or guilt. And the Senate is saying there was not enough evidence here to impeach this president. And the fundamental facts, no matter how many witnesses come forward, are the same. The aid was given, the President Linsey felt no pressure, and there was no investigation.
But you don't think that they're concerned about not having any witnesses in this trial, which is unprecedented, that that'll cause a problem?
Yeah, I think the voters are not paying attention to this. I've been traveling the whole country. We've seen voters not really interested in impeachment. The one way that we've seen an uptick on the Republican side is through our donations. We've added 1 million new small donors since the impeachment began. It has really energized our base because they feel like it hasn't been a fair process, because the president wasn't allowed to bring his attorneys in or have rebuttal witnesses, things that were not part of the Clinton impeachment, things that anybody should be provided. I mean, if you're accused of a crime, you should be able to have counsel present, and this is something that our president was denied.
Well, you said it just now. You said it over the weekend that you think that impeachment will actually be an asset for the president's reelection, noting how it's helped with fundraising. But despite a strong economy, we saw sweeping losses for Republicans in the 2018 midterms, especially in moderate suburbs. So how will the president win back those voters who have been potentially turned off by his time in office?
So in 2018, I do think it's important to recognize that we did pick up 3 Senate seats, which was critical. It's certainly critical this coming Wednesday that we added to our majority in the Senate, which is not common in a midterm election. And then the president being on the ballot in 2020. At the RNC, we've identified 8 million voters that turned out in 2016 that skipped the midterms, but will come out to vote for President Trump again in 2020. These are Trump voters. They came out for him. Some of them are Democrats or independents, and we think it'll really help us win back some of these battleground House seats, especially when, like you said, these Democrats ran as moderates. I'll work with Republicans. I'll be against Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, and they've come to Washington and have been in lockstep with their party. So now they have a record to run on, not just rhetoric of being somebody who would be a moderate and in the middle.
Of course, Democratic voters are headed to caucus sites throughout Iowa tonight. Asking you now to take out your crystal ball for us here. Who do you think will ultimately go on to take on the president, and who do you think that he'd most like to face? He's not been quiet about this.
Well, I don't think we know who's going to take on the president yet, and I think that's fair. I don't think anybody can look into the crystal ball and say this is going to be the definitive winner, especially when you get delegates if you reach that 15% threshold. Joe Biden should win tonight in Iowa. He should win overwhelmingly. He had Iowa all to himself the past 9 days. I think Nancy Pelosi put her thumb on the scale holding these impeachment articles for over a month to try and make sure she timed it so Bernie Sanders didn't have a chance to go campaign. So Joe Biden should have a strong night.
That's why you think that she did this?
Oh, I absolutely do. I mean, why else would she hold it for 30 days? I don't understand. And Kevin McCarthy came out with that, and I think you've seen the Democrat leadership come out very strongly against Bernie Sanders. I know yesterday was Groundhog Day, but I think it's a repeat of 2016 all over again.
And before you go, who do you think that President Trump would like to run against?
Well, he said yesterday he'd like to run against Bloomberg. I think he's ready to run against any of them. I mean, as you've seen the debates, nobody's become the presumptive front runner. You're still seeing people jump into the race. It is really a jumbled field, and the president has strong economic numbers. He gets to run on 7 million new jobs, wages going up, on the accomplishments of this administration, trade deals, and people are feeling better than they did 4 years ago. And that's the question we'll ask you. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? We've heard that question in politics before. And we see overwhelmingly that Americans do feel better off, and they're not going to switch presidents when they feel like they're doing better.
All right. Our thanks to you, Ronna McDaniel. We appreciate you talking with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.